Tonight, China is already preparing for the worst. U.S. officials tell CNN Beijing is putting missile-capable bombers and other military aircraft on, quote, high alert.
We had some good news come out of the United Nations today, which is probably the last time you'll ever hear me say that, because the United Nations is basically garbage. It basically doesn't, mean dick around the world. But we had China. We saw China actually align with Western powers when it came to a resolution about North Korea's missile program, which is a big step. A lot of times we see China abstain in those matters. One of the only silver linings when it comes to this whole entire crisis is the fact that Donald Trump is trying to use China to stop North Korea, to slow Kim Jong-un down. And this is one of the only things that might actually work. Past administrations have tried different economic sanctions, different resolutions to the United Nations, and it's a recurring cycle when it comes to North Korea. Basically, they make a bunch of bolsterous threats to America, to South Korea, to its neighbors. They fire off a few missiles, do some nuclear tests, and in the end, they get some type of humanitarian aid, and they basically shut the fuck up for about a couple months to a year. And then they do it all over again because their people are starving because they're spending so much of their GDP on their military. And it's all, like I've said in the previous video, it's all to consolidate power for this regime, for this dictatorship. Now, China has taken some really positive steps in the right direction when it comes to curbing North Korea. They stopped, the coal shipments. They've made threats. They've put troops on the border, for Christ's sake. They have ships that are sitting outside the Sea of Japan that are testing missiles. And we need, the U.S. and Western powers need China to do something. They're the closest and basically almost the only ally to North Korea. And honestly, if there's not some backdoor deal bullshit, backstabbing shit going on between China and North Korea, you gotta really think what Kim Jong-un's thinking. Like, how much have I fucked up? Like I am honestly all alone in the world. I mean, I killed my own fucking brother to consolidate power, to keep power in my tiny fat little hands. And now my only ally, China, is, I'm fucked. He's got to be thinking he's screwed. He really does. He's got to be shoving his face with cheese balls and hating life. He's probably crying. I honestly think that, Kim Jong-un just wasn't ready to lead this nation. I think he's a big piece of shit. I think that, his dad did a much better job at it. And, his dad was a dirtbag. He was a scumbag. He was a low-life piece of shit, all right? He treated his people like ass, just like Kim Jong-un does. But I feel like he was an opportunist. Like, there were certain situations where, for decades, he would make the same stupid fucking threats while building his military, and then he would shut the fuck up and kind of, go away from the world view when he was given humanitarian aid to feed his fucking people. Now, let's just say for a second here that China actually is on our side, that, Trump gave him some economic deal, some way for China to make a shit ton of money if they turn their back on Korea. We gotta wonder how far Kim Jong-un's gonna take this, because we've never really pushed them to this brink before. And it's something that's it's a little scary because, one, you got Trump, who seems to be a little trigger happy as of later. Maybe it's just he's listening to his generals and they're like, hey, we should bomb the shit out of this person. He's just like, hey, go for it, dude. You know how to do your job. Either way, he isn't like Obama. He's not one to shy away from military action like that. So you've got Trump, who may be a little trigger happy, and then you've got Kim Jong-un, who is like, hey, fuck it, if China's against me, I'm probably going to lose power anyway, and I don't give a shit about my people. So, why not start an all-out war? And, that's a really scary, scenario, if that's what plays out. I believe that an even scarier scenario that, we should look at is maybe if China is just playing us. I really think that China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, Syria have a very strong relationship. I believe that they do not want U.S. to gain back the power that we had, in the late 90s and early 2000s, where we were the only superpower, we were the main influence in the world. I think, there's a good chance that these other strong nations are trying to, tie the knot between each other to maybe take the United States down. It's a real, I think it's a long shot, but it's a real fear in my mind that something like that could happen. And North Korea is just like this puppet that, they're like, what, this guy is a piece of shit. His military, technology-wise, decades behind everybody else, but they're the perfect scapegoat to create this type of situation. Now, I mean, these are just my thoughts on, different scenarios on what's going on. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think. Am I way off the mark? Am I not? Just let me know. What do you think? Is China with us? Is China against us? How far is North Korea willing to go in this? How far? How many people have to die for Kim Jong-un to keep his power, keep his country, keep enslaving his people, keep starving them, continuing to build his military? What needs to happen? Is Trump so trigger happy that he'll strike? He'll do a military strike, no questions asked. And what in the end, what really needs to happen to kind of make this crisis go away? Have everyone live in peace over there? Let me know.